everyone. Today I am going to go over how to use PubMed Zotero and then how to annotate documents and upload those annotations to Zotero. So first we're going to navigate in our web explorer to ncbi.nlm.nih.gov, or you can just Google PubMed. Click here. And if you Google just PubMed, it might take you to the PubMed landing page. So the first thing you're going to want to do is log in. So this might have taken you to the PubMed landing page. You can click on that to get the NCBI landing page, and you can click sign in to NCBI. So it gives you a couple of options. If you already had an NCBI login, you can use that. You can sign in with Google and NIH login or an ERH common login, but I recommend clicking on See More Third-Party Sign-In Options. And here, if you type in Wyoming, you'll see the University of Wyoming pops up. From there, it will take you through it. You should see a landing page for Wyoming. Unfortunately, I already did this, so it went straight through. But after you get to the Wyoming landing page, hit OK or sign in, it will take you here. As you can see, my University of Wyoming ID is up here. It says my NCBI, and there's a sign out. So the first thing we're going to do is click on your account settings. Here you'll see your email, your username, and linked accounts. So here we have linked University of Wyoming, currently signed in. You can change this. And sign in a different way, but I recommend just keeping it the same. I'm not going to talk about adding delegates or API key management. You probably won't need this, but I do want to now click on this NCBI site preferences. So here we now see a bunch of different preferences. And the first one we'll notice is highlighting. So if you click on highlighting right now, I prefer to have my highlights be hot pink, but you can have them be any color you'd like. Just click save. Then we're really going to focus on the PubMed preferences. So the result display settings, you can either have summary or abstract. I personally find the abstract more useful. You can either change abstract to automatically open the author information by default. I don't have that on right now, but you can if you'd like. Outside tool, we can again go to U for University of Wyoming. I'm just going to do this. And we see University of Wyoming libraries. Go ahead and click on that. And then at this very bottom part, click Return to Preference page. So now it says Outside Tool, University of Wyoming Libraries. Next, we're going to go to Filters and Icons. Filters are nice, especially if you know exactly what you mostly search for. So let's create a custom filter. The way this works is within quotation marks, you will supply search terms to use as a filter in PubMed. So as an example, let's think about research around sugar sweetened beverages. So the first search term is probably just sugar sweetened beverages. And you can click test this query. it looks like we have 285 results. So let's just make sure that we remember how many that is. That's a pretty good amount of results, but I assume that there is more research out there than just 2,800 papers. So if we want to increase the number of results, we use OR. So another way we might see sugar-sweetened beverages is abbreviated as SSB. And indeed, that has increased the amount of results we found. So now, looks like we increased it by about 5,000. Even so, this is a pretty hot topic, so we're probably somehow missing some potential papers. So let's do something like sugar sweetened beverages. Okay, so from that one, we see that inclusion of this dash didn't increase our search results, so we don't have to use that one. Other ones we could use is just sugar. That gets us a lot more results. Let's see, maybe sweet. All right, so now we have 140,000 results. And now we can save this filter as sugar sweetened beverages and save. Now you'll see that I have two custom filters here. I have a female one that I created, and I can also activate the sugar sweetened beverage custom filter. On this side, on the right side, we see that there are some pre-made filters. So one is for clinical trials, I have that clicked. One is for English, I have that one clicked. There's English and humans, so I could engage that one and probably take off English and humans, and published within the last 5 years. So you can choose whichever ones of these you like. All right, so now we've created our filters. Let's try a search. So we can go back to my NCBI. From here, we can search the databases. We see that there's PubMed and a lot of other ones. We'll primarily be focusing on PubMed. If you go into other classes, maybe a genetics class, these gene or genome ones may be useful then. So let's think about something we might search for. Let's do ultra processed foods. So when we search for just ultra-processed foods, it looks like we get around 2,000 results. If we look within the clinical trials, we have around 30 results. Of all of these, around 600 are in English with humans. The majority of them have been published in the last 5 years. As you can see, this is a very popular topic in the last couple of years. If we were to use our female filter, we would have 382 results, but let's look at what we get with our sugar-sweetened beverage results. We have 151 sugar-sweetened beverage results with ultra-processed foods as our search term. It looks like we have a pretty recent cell metabolism paper. as well as a variety of other ones. So maybe we are new to this topic. So we're interested in sugar sweetened beverages and ultra processed foods. We don't really feel comfortable jumping directly into a randomized control trial. So let's take a look at just reviews. And now we have 13 results left. This is a nice manageable number of results, especially if we're just introducing ourselves to this. So we have evidence for saturated fat and sugar related to coronary heart disease. And as you can see, my highlight is on. So it's highlighting the sugar part in sugar sweetened beverages, as well as food, foods, and sugar. And that's because this is not in quotations. Let's see what happens when we put this in quotations. Now, if we click on sugar sweetened beverage filter and we have our review filter applied, we now have 11. So this will now show us we have ultra processed foods, and it also looks for the individual words. So we could even be more specific. And that doesn't actually do anything to the number of results. So we have this perspective piece, impactful policies to reduce ultra-processed foods, consumption of ultra-processed foods and non-communicable diseases, food as medicine, ultra-processed foods and nutrition transition, and on and on. Here, though, we see experiment studies of front of package nutrient warning labels on sugar sweetened beverages and ultra processed foods. Well, that might be interesting. And just looking down, we have some pediatric guidelines. So it looks like probably our best bet is this paper by Lindsay Smith-Talley, recently published in 2020. We can see, again, our terms are highlighted, ultra-processed foods. Something we didn't search for is sugary drinks, so we might want to remember that for later. So when we're reading this abstract, we might be reading it and thinking, okay, this is exactly what I was looking for. Now we want to probably save this paper, unless we think we have the ability to read it right this moment. To do that, we can create a summary text file, a CSV, an abstract, a PubMed ID. We also can send it to what's called a collection. So we can create a new collection and we can call this SSB Important Papers. Now, if we go back to our dashboard and look in the collections, we'll see that we have SSB Important Papers. There's one item, and right now it's private. And if we click on this, it takes us directly to this paper. So now we are going to think about, okay, we have this paper, it's saved in our citation manager on PubMed, but we really like this paper. We want to download the entire paper and annotate it. And this is where Zotero comes in. So for whichever flavor of computer you like, Mac, Windows, Linux, go ahead and download Zotero. I have already done this, and you'll see you will have something that looks like this. Of course, mine is very, very full. Yours, if this is your first time, probably much less full. But we can go down to maybe the nutrition controversies class I've created, And if I highlight that, once you have downloaded Zotero, you will notice Zotero, it also will give you the option to install a link for Google Drive. Another way you can find this is just Googling it, Zotero. Sorry, not Google Drive. Chrome. You also have the ability to add a Zotero connector to Chrome if Chrome is what you're looking for. There are other connectors for other browsers, so it looks like Firefox, Safari, and I'm assuming this is Outlook or whatever the Microsoft one is these days. So go ahead and install that, and you should see a little icon up in the top part. It's called Save to Zotero. So if you go back to the paper you're interested in, specifically this experimental studies, click on the PDF and then click on the Zotero importer in your web browser, and you will see that it is saving it to my nutrition controversies folder, and it is confirming that this PDF is available. Well, let's check. If we go to Zotero, and I have it organized so that the last added is on top, we see experimental studies of front of package nutrient warning labels, what it is, the title, and then the authors. It also has the abstract. But let's make sure we got the PDF. So here we see the PDF exists. We double click, and we now have the PDF in our PDF viewer. I am using Foxit PDF Reader. I recommend that. It works really nicely with Zotero because as I am going through this article, let's say I find something that I find interesting. Oh, let's see. How about as I am reading, I am interested in this line right here. The Foxit Reader allows me to then highlight this. I can save my highlight. If I then go back to Zotero and I right click, I should see something called Manage Attachments. And then if I click Extract Annotations, I should see this green check saying that it found my annotations. And then within that, I can look at my annotations with this new kind of yellow sticky note square. So it doesn't get it perfect all the time, but you can see that it generally shows what you highlighted. This is really nice if you are just looking through and can't remember the exact annotation. You can also do this for a bunch of annotated papers all at once. Here you'll see I didn't actually have any, but it looks for them in every paper. So now that we have the paper that we were interested in with the annotation we're interested in, we usually aren't going to stop there. We're going to open up something like this Google Doc, and maybe we are writing a paper. So Smith Tally said this, and we're going to want to cite this statement. So as you can see, once you install Zotero and the plugin, this Zotero button will appear in your Google Docs. If you click that and then click Add Edit Citation, it'll ask you what style you want. And then you can go to Manage Styles, and we want to use the American Dietetics and Nutrition Society. So it looks like we'll have to get additional styles. And here we go, Journal of the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. This is what we'll be using. We'll choose that, add that. So now we see, now we've added it. There is the Journal of Academy of Nutrition Dietetics. We're going to hit OK. And now we are going to use this red bar to find the paper we wanted. So I remember that the author's name was Smith Tally. Might have misspelled it. Or sometimes it grabs only one of the names. There we go. So experimental front of package research, click on that one, hit enter again. And we see that now we have this superscript 1, that is our citation. And we can also add a bibliography. So now we have our citation. It is in the correct format, and we have the citation in text also correct. So let's say that we like this citation, but we want to write a sentence before this one. And we also want to cite a different paper. I'm just going to randomly choose one that I've written. Let's say it's that. We can also enter that, and now we see the new citation is number 1, and our previous citation is number 2. And in fact, it generates the bibliography and puts them in the correct order. We also can do a similar process in Microsoft Word. We type something, something, something. Here, again, we see the Zotero, the Add Edit Citation. Choose Journal of the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, and then choose our paper of interest. And in fact, say you are writing something and you decide, oh, this actually has 2 citations. You can edit the citation and add an additional. So now we have our 1 and 2, and if we add our bibliography, we have our 1 and 2. So from this video, you should now know how to create an NCIB account with personalized search functions.